Hello everyone, am I audible? Hello.
Audible, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this extra session of week 5. So, going to the content, we thought that okay, we will need this extra session today, and there will be something still left, so we'll be continuing it on tomorrow's open session. Okay, so the whole idea is and how to establish.
Sir, your audio is breaking, sir.
Yes, sir, it's not clear.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
There is some network issue at his side. Kindly wait for a minute.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so actually I'm facing some network issues from my end. I'm not sure why that is happening. This might happen later also. Just let me know when I'm not audible, okay? All right. So moving on with the content. In the last session, we saw how to talk with the database exactly to interact and get all the CRUD operations, right? So we saw one by one all the 4 operations that we can do with the database, and any application that we would create later on in project wherever it is. So it will be combination of these 4 operations in short, right? So and that we will be seeing in one of the sessions also in probably in the next session when we will be creating an application. So and creating a front end for that. So we'll see that how while creating a controller, how do we make use of these 4 operations to actually get something done. Okay, and then we'll also use the whatever we understood from Flask. Okay, so in today's session, the agenda would be to make you understand what is the next relationship, that is many to many, and then what changes do we have to do in the models, and how do we make sure that the 2 models whatever we are going to create are connected with one to one, sorry, many to many relationship, right? So for that we will be using the same models that we created in the last session, right? So we did the cars and makers, right? So I'll be sharing my screen now. Just give me a minute. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible. I'll open VS Code in the folder that we were working with. So for that, I'll just open command prompt, which I think I've already opened. And to open VS Code here, we'll just simply write code and space dot. Right. All right. So I'll open VS Code on the left half, and I'll keep the command prompt opened on the right half. Okay, so that we also can interact with the database with the help of command line. Okay, because if you want to interact with the database using the front end, we would have to create a complete application. So we will be coming on to that. But before actually going on to the application, we should understand how to interact with the database. And that is the reason we are using command line interface to get the idea one by one. Yeah, I mean, that is line by line. Okay, so that is what we have done in the previous session also.
Sir,
With
the
the
SQL,
database
the
and
sample
this particular
SQLite that you
application
have
using
created.
command line. Sample SQLite database, is it? Yeah.
Sir, we need to create, means you will create again, or we have to copy that again?
Which one?
Means the
No,
database
for
that
what
you just
exactly?
created earlier,
Hmm.
we need to copy paste that again, or you will create new database?
Yeah, so I'll create a new database because see, this was a sample database that I had created, and I wanted to give the I mean both, right? So the code also will be shared with you all. So and I want the code to have everything that we have done, right? So I don't want any replacement. I will create everything that is required explicitly. So in the last session, we had used sample .sqlite3. So that referred to one-to-many relationship database, right? So the models in that database were connected with one-to-many relationship. But today we'll be creating another database just to keep both the codes and models have different to appear differently, right? So we'll be creating another database where we'll save same models. So models will remain same, but they will be connected with each other with many-to-many relationship. So we'll be doing everything from the scratch mostly. Okay. Before going to the content of today, I'll just give a brief of what happened in the last session, right? So in the last session, if you talk about this particular file app.py, in the last session, we talked about using SQL Alchemy as an ORM to connect with the database, right? So if we want to query the database, do some operations like read, write, and update the database, we might need to write SQL commands, right? So some of you might be okay with SQL, some of you may not be, right? So, but the one thing that we have common here is the understanding of Python, right? So we have been working on Python since week 2, week 3, and in previous also. I mean, before Mad1, you may have worked on Python to a very good extent. So what we want to do here is, without actually changing our comfort zone, that is Python, without actually going or switching between Python and SQL, what we have done is we have made use of SQL Alchemy. What it does is we write commands or we write queries in Python in terms of classes and objects. Okay, and it communicates to the database with the help of the queries, right? So we don't have to explicitly write the queries. SQL Alchemy does that for us, right? So we had created this model in the last session, which talks about brand, right? So every and creating a model meaning just creating a class here, right? So if you see, we have created a class. We'll be using the object-oriented programming nature of Python to understand or to connect with the database that uses MySQL or SQL, right? So here, while whenever we created a class in Python, that refers to actually a table in SQL, right? So that's what I've done. That's what I've written here in the commented 3-4 lines, just to give an analogy, right? What we are doing in Python and what is actually happening with the database. Okay, so whenever we create a class, it actually refers to a table in SQL or in the database, right? Whenever we add an attribute, or whenever we create a variable for that class, it refers to the column in the table, right? And whenever we create object of that class, okay, it refers to a new record or a row in the table. Okay, so here you can see that the class brand refers to a table in database. So I'll just open the database also. Okay, so for that we need DB browser. I'll be opening DB browser, right? So I hope everybody at this point has DB browser, but if at all you don't have DB browser, then also what you can do is you can make use of this SQLite viewer. So this is a web application where you can load your database. I'll be sharing here. So you can open the database that you have created in SQLite viewer. Okay. However, I'll be using DB browser. So I'll just open this database that we had created last time. Okay. Exactly. Okay. So sample.sqlite3 was the database. So when we open this and browse data, click something. Yeah. So when we open this and browse data, we'll see that the rows. Okay, so the column names here, b underscore id, b underscore name, actually refer to the attributes here, right? Or the variables that we have created here. And you can see that the class brand actually refers to the table brand, right? So you can see that there are two tables at this point, brand and car. Okay, and they are created with the help of these classes that we have created in Python. So what we have to do is work everywhere in Python, and simultaneously things will keep on happening in SQL. Okay, so we don't need to go ahead and write complete queries of SQL to actually get things done. Okay, so that is what we did. Another thing to look here is whenever you create a class with the name brand with B capital, the corresponding table that is created in the database will have the same name but with all small letters, right? So the tables in the database that we are referring to everywhere will have all small case alphabets, right? Whatever it is. So if it is name brand, it will be brand with small b in database, while in the class it will be capital B. Now, what is the reason, or what do we get from this? It becomes very easy to understand which one is class and which one is actually the table. So one application of that I'll show you. For example, here in line number 24, we have created an extra column where we had to add a foreign key, right? So in one-to-many relationship, the foreign key attribute has to be added to the child element of the database, right? So in one-to-many, you'll see that there will be a parent element and the child element, right? Where the parent can have multiple children, while on the other hand, a child cannot have multiple parents,
Sir,
right?
for
So
foreign key
here
you
in
have
this,
used db.foreignkey, but for primary key it has not been done like that.
yeah, so that is, I mean, see, it's not that they both are same, because here the primary key is an attribute of this method db.column. Okay, but here this db.foreign key is actually a method where you also have to pass on the argument. Okay, so it's not that I'm setting an attribute to true or false here. In foreign key basically is the method where I also have to provide what exactly are you referring to when you talk about foreign key, right? So when I create a db.foreign key, I also have to specify what exactly the foreign key in this table will refer to, or where the foreign key comes from. So it comes from brand, and specifically what, the b underscore id, right? So this has to be provided, therefore it is a method, right? And here this is only an attribute which has to be set to true or false, that's all. Okay, so both those things are different, right?
Got it, sir.
Okay, yeah, so with that I'll move ahead what I was saying. Yeah, so when you refer to this particular column, you will see that I've written brand.b underscore id. So here this brand actually refers to table, although it is, highlighting the same thing. But this brand, if you notice, the b I've used is small, while the B here is capital. So I know that when I write small b or brand with small b, I'm referring to actually the table brand which is there in the database. And it is intuitive enough because foreign key applies to table, not on class, right? So to bring about this distinction and also not get confused, we will create this nomenclature is followed, right? So class with all the class names with capital letters and all the tables name with the same name but all small. Okay. Now talking about one to many, as I said, when you want to create a child element, every record in the child element will belong to parent, right? You cannot create a child without a parent. For that, we have this extra column here. This means that whenever I want to create an attribute, whenever I want to create a record in car table, I'll have to provide who is the parent from the brand table. Okay, that is not true when I do the opposite, right? So when I create a brand, I can independently create the brand. Okay, two brands can remain independent. Two children can remain independent, but they cannot exist in the database unless we provide them the parent. Okay, so that is the whole idea of one-to-many relationship. And in the CLI, we also saw the 4 CRUD operations, right? Creating a particular record in the database, reading the records from the database, updating the record, and finally deleting the record. So all those things we have seen in the last session. Today also we are going to, there's no point in showing them again because we'll anyway do those things today again. But only that we'll be doing it with many-to-many relationship. Okay. So I'll most probably create another file for many-to-many relationships so that we keep both the codes differently, and you also see the difference between how the two similar models but are connected with different relationships. Okay, so I'll be using the same models, brand and cars, but they will be connected with many-to-many relationship. Okay, so that is what we are going to do today, and we'll see some operations on the databases. Okay, with that, I'm expecting that you have gone through the previous session and have probably have got everything, or there are some doubts. So if there are any queries, you can just raise your hands and we'll clear that first. Okay, so I'm assuming that there are no queries and everything is understood. Okay, so even if there is something that is missing, we will try to cover it in today's session. Okay, anybody speaking anything for that? Share the database. We'll create the database. You don't have to worry about it. So you can follow along and create the database for your own. Okay, so I'll move ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. So what I'm doing, so this app.py, I'll keep for one-to-many relationships so that you know that the models and everything that are created here, they belong to one-to-many. Now I'll create another file. Let's say main.py. Okay. So main.py is the another Python file which I'm creating, and here I'll be writing code for many-to-many relationship. So models and everything will be created in that sense. But the underlying import and configuration remains same. Okay. So I will be copying these 8 lines. I mean, technically 6 lines. If that is okay, let me know. If that is not okay, I'll explain. So should I move ahead with these lines? I'll explain these lines once again. Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
what is happening? Yeah. So what is happening here? Currently, don't focus on this render template. We don't need render template as of now. Okay. But we need Flask because we are actually creating the application. All right. We are not running it. That is a different thing. But we want an application to actually get connected with the database because we are using Flask SQL Alchemy. Right. So we'll create the Flask object with that is app. Okay. That is what we have done. The second thing is importing SQL Alchemy object from Flask SQL Alchemy. All right. So these are the two import that we need. Line number 4 refers to creating the app object. Then there is config. So this line is very important as far as database is concerned, right? So basically app.config is a dictionary. Okay, app.config is a dictionary which stores various variables, which stores various keys, and then we have to also assign the values to that. Okay, now what are those keys? We don't have to worry about for now. But one of that is this SQL Alchemy database URI. Okay. So SQL Alchemy database URI refers to what kind of database you are
Sir,
connecting.
this DB is key.
DB, where exactly?
Sir, you are saying that it has many key, and this one is one is key.
Yeah, right. So app.config is a dictionary, okay, that gets internally created with respect to app, Flask app, right? And then there are various keys within that. So one of that is this, okay, that key talks about connecting with the database, okay. What
Yes.
all keys, other keys are there, you don't have to worry about as of now. But as we move ahead with, let's say, APIs and everything, we'll try to show you some more.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
one
But
of that.
why we are giving is equal SQLite and triple slash?
No, that is that is the convention that is provided by the documentation. For example, if I want to connect with MySQLite MySQL database, the connect this format changes. If I want to connect with PG database, Postgres, the format changes. So this is the format that is provided by the SQL Alchemy documentation. Okay, so
And
if you
sir,
see, this
Dart
is actually,
SQLite 3 is just for giving extension. If we do not provide, everything will work fine.
sorry, I didn't get. So you're saying that if you don't give this, it would be fine.
Yeah, sir.
And that is okay. But see, the thing is, we are creating a database and we want SQLite 3 to be the extension of that database. Okay, so we are providing everything. Okay, and if you see that it
But
is a string, so
sample dot
basically,
SQLite 3 is just the name of the database.
SQLite 3 is the extension of database. The name is
It's
sample,
a sample. Okay, sir.
right? So, so if you see that this is a string, right? So this means that they have predefined the way in which you provide the value to this particular key of app.config dictionary, right? So if you want to see for the MySQL, MySQL and Postgres admin, everything, all those things, if you want to see, it will be there in the documentation of SQLite. Sorry, not SQLite, MySQL. And this particular, if you want to see, Flask SQL Alchemy. So in Flask SQL Alchemy, they define if you want to configure with the database and particularly a specific database, what should be the value of this string. Okay, probably I'll show you after we are done. Okay, so app.config is one of the keys which refers to what exactly is the URI of the database. So here we need to see three things. One is this part refers to the type of database we are using. So we're using SQLite database, right? And then sample.sqlite 3 is the name and extension, right? So that is one thing. Now talking about these three slashes, this actually, I mean, as far as as far as I've seen, this actually takes care of creating the database in the instance folder within your current working directory. Okay. So, I mean, see here anywhere, while creating sample.sqlite 3, we have not specified where exactly we want it to get created, right? So these three particular forward slashes somewhere takes care of that. Okay. You can go into details of this. I mean, what exactly will happen when you do this and this and this. But I mean, at this point, we will focus on the how to create models basically. Configuration and everything is as the term says configuration. So configuration will keep on changing. Okay. At this point, we'll focus on connecting the or specifying the URI if we want to connect to an SQLite database whose name is given here. That's all. Okay. So here, since the sample.sqlite is already created, I'll just give another name and let's say some intuitive name because we are connecting with or we are the relationship that we are establishing is many to many, right? So let's say we give this many to many.sqlite 3. This means that the database that will get created will have this name many to many.sqlite 3. Okay, so that is about line 5. In line number 7, we also have the way we have initialized this Flask app, we also have to initialize the DB object. Okay, so how do we do that? We the method that we have imported right from Flask SQL Alchemy will make use of that and then provide app as the argument to it. Okay, and then this particular line exactly talks about the context of application. So for example, generally when we create an application app.py, so this application app.py is nothing but a Python module, right? then you are creating a Flask object. So Flask object refers to creating an application which is working on web, right? And then you are creating a database which is a embedded, because it is a local database. Okay, so if you see here, we have created instance folder. I mean, the instance folder get created by itself, but within this instance folder, we have this database which is a local database, right? So you can see that there is a, there is an application that is running on web. Okay, there is a database that is locally stored, and there is one more thing that I said. What was that?
Embedded.
No. See, so what I meant was the application. So the application, this Python module, it is a local Python module. That is one thing. Okay. Second thing is the application that we are trying to create is a web application. Okay. And the third thing is the database that we are going to configure is again a local database, right? So we want everything to come in single context. And for that, we have to provide this particular line, app.appcontext.push. Okay, if you don't give this, it will give you an error saying that the you're working out of application context. Okay, so
This will merge the
basically,
three things.
sorry,
Means this its line will provide us interlink between these three means
right,
app.py,
yeah,
main.py, and database.
not app.py basically. So main.py meaning the module. This we have done in this line also, right? So in general, the app Python module, which is a local module, okay, and the database, which is a local database, but the application is web, right? So there is a difference, or there is a conflict between platforms here, right? So that is why we want everything to come in a single picture, in the single context, and that is the reason we have to provide this particular line. It is a part of code, it is a part of syntax. Whatever I've said is the maximum you need to know about this line. Okay. So that is about the first 6 lines of main.py, which are very exactly same to app.py, only that we have changed the database name. Okay, changing many to many as the database name does not create a many to many relationship, right? I hope that is understood. Now we'll start creating the class. So I'll again take the classes because these classes will remain same. Okay, so I'll take this class and copy it here. Okay, I'm taking most of the data from app.py and pasting it main.py. Wherever something new appears, I'll explain that. All right, so we have created this particular class with the name brand. All right, and we know that the ID of that particular class, every record that we are going to enter in the brand table will have a primary key. So that is what we have set as b underscore id, and we have set this attribute to true, primary key attribute to true, to make sure that this particular thing acts as a primary key. And we know that the primary key will generally be an integer. That's why we are specifying what type of value that particular column will take. Okay, b underscore name will be again, so it will be a different column in the table, right? And since it is a name, we know that it will be a string, right? So the text type, data type in SQL will refer to the string data type here, right? So this is the tape, this is the particular data type. What kind of data we are storing in that particular column, it has to be specified here. And then other properties, other attributes like nullable. I don't want this particular name to remain null, so I have kept nullable as false. Okay, there is one more attribute, that is unique equals to true or false. Just make sure that every name you put is a unique, right? So for example, in the last lecture, we have created Maruti as brand. We cannot create a Maruti as another brand once the brand is created, right? So this will make sure of that. Currently, I'm not really worried about keeping the records unique. That's why I'm removing this. All right. And the third thing is this, which we don't want as of now.
Sir, unique should be true, no?
So I completely removed that. Okay. Currently, we are not bothered about unique and non-unique.
So unique is equal to false means there could be non-unique element also.
Right. Yes. Multiple elements with same name.
And for primary key, it is always unique.
Yeah. So for that, we don't have to explicitly provide. Okay, so I mean, if I write primary key equals to true and then unique equals to true, nothing wrong in that, but that is not required. There is one more thing called as auto incremented. Auto increment.
Yes, sir. We didn't provide primary key while creation of the data means row.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is these are the things that are required, but I mean these are things that you can give. These are all possible attributes that you can provide for a column. But when you set something as primary key, you don't have to worry about two things: whether it is unique or not, whether it is auto incremented or not. As far as it is integer, definitely it will be auto incremented. Yeah, but if you set something as string, string can be a primary key, right? It is no issue with that. But as far as you provide something as a string, you'll have to provide, I mean, you have to explicitly give it. You cannot set something as auto incremented, right? Okay, so that is about the class brand. Okay, now next I won't copy. Let me
Sir,
write once again. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, what is auto
the
increment do?
Sorry, can we
Sir,
go one by one?
what does auto increment do?
Yeah, so auto increment. See, for example, do you have this, right, brands table? Okay, so when we create a particular object, for example, if I want to create a new object here, a new row in this table, okay, that new row will be, let's say, Mercedes. Okay, the brand name is Mercedes. Okay, I don't have to explicitly provide two for b underscore id, because I know, I mean, the table or the model is defined in a way that since b underscore id is a primary key, it is auto incremented, meaning the next row by itself it will take value 2. I don't need to provide 2.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, we will see that, I mean, we will see that in real. Okay, when I go to the interaction with the database.
Okay, sir.
sir, in the second line, b underscore name, in the db dot string, we need to provide size always, or
No,
it
that
will
is
take.
optional, you can remove.
Okay, sir. By
It,
default, what will be the size?
by default there won't be any size. This is the default.
Okay, sir.
Okay, if you want to limit, so I mean,
We
let's
have to
say,
give this bracket after.
yeah, it is a method. String is a method, so bracket has to be given. If you provide argument like 30, 40, so that becomes the limit, or the maximum length of that particular column. Okay,
Okay, sir.
if you do not give anything, there will be no limit.
Okay, sir.
Okay, should I move ahead?
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, go
Is
ahead.
this session on YouTube?
Yeah, it is streamed live. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If somebody on the chat has the link, provide the YouTube link. Okay, on the chat. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, about the auto increment thing and the limit. If you gave a limit and if the limit is crossed, does it display an error message or does it just not add it?
No, so these two are different things. See, auto incremented does not talk about how many rows you can add. Okay, auto increment talks about the increasing of number by 1. That's all. Done. Now, what is this limit exactly? It is the length. For example, if I set this to 5, I cannot add a car name that is more than 5 characters long.
Sir, so if you add a car name that is, for example, more than 5, will it display an error message or is it
Yes, it
just
will
not?
not allow, it will not let the record to be added in the database.
And it won't let the record and it will also let us know, right?
Yeah,
Rather
yeah,
than just.
it will. Constraint failed. I can show
Okay,
that
sir.
to you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I'll set this limit to 10 so that I can show, because I don't know any name that is 30 characters long. So I'll set this to 10, and while actually interacting with the database, I'll try to show you something that is more than 10 characters long. Okay, but it has nothing to do anything with the auto incrementing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move with the next class, that is car. So notice that I've created a car with capital C because it is class. Okay, so car will have CID. So it is taking from the previous code, I guess. Yeah. So it will have CID. How do we create the column? So it will be db.column. Every db.column will actually create a physical column in the database, right? Physical column in the table, exactly. Okay. Now this will be again integer. So I'll write db.integer. Okay, and this will be the primary key for this particular table. Primary key attribute is being set to true. Okay, the other thing is name of the car. So I'll write C underscore name. Also db dot column. This is string, right? So it will be db dot string. For now, not strong string. For now, I'm not providing any length for this particular attribute. And let's say nullable is false. Okay, that's all. So these are the two independent models for now. They are not connected with any other relationship. Okay. Now I want to create many-to-many relationship. The one constraint that we have for one-to-many relationship that I said was, when you are creating a child object, any record in the child table, you have to provide who the parent is explicitly. Otherwise, it will not allow you. Why? Because here, if you see maker, it is a db dot column. What does that mean? It is a physical column which is required. Right? So if you create a car object, you also have to, I mean, in car object, we will first provide primary key that it will take by itself, right? You will provide the name, but that is not enough. You also have to provide who's the maker of car, which will be one of the records from brand table. Okay. So that is required. And why is that required? Because then only the one-to-many relationship will hold true. Because we are saying that a child cannot, exist independently without parent. Okay, but in many-to-many relationship, there is no concept of child and parent. Okay, these are siblings. Okay, so there is no concept of child and parent. Yeah, although they might appear. I mean, brand and car, nothing is changed. But if I talk about statement-wise, I can say that one brand can have multiple cars, as well as one car can belong to multiple brand. Okay, this is a possibility in many-to-many relationship. When I was in one-to-many, what can I say? One brand can have multiple cars, but a car cannot belong to more than one brand, or a car cannot belong to multiple brands at same time. One-to-many, right? But in many-to-many, I can say it on both the sides. A brand can have multiple cars, a car can belong to multiple brands. Okay. So,
Sir, but in the previous app.py,
yeah,
there you said that a maker will give one to many, means one car could have many, uh, the maker gives us that many brand, the maker gives us that what will be the brand of the car that could be
right.
repeated.
Yeah.
But one means one brand could have multiple car, right, sir?
Yeah. That is what I'm saying, right?
But multiple car could have, one car could not have multiple brands.
Right. Yeah.
But in many to many, in main.py, this many to many, one car could have multiple brands, right?
Yes. And the code for that is not yet done. I'm just telling how this is what we are trying to achieve.
Okay, that we are trying to achieve, yes, sir.
Yeah. So see, if you remember the first half an hour of creating a model, this is what all we had. Okay. One-to-many relationship was created after this. How did we create that? We added this extra column here and we specified this relationship method. Okay. So if you remove this particular line number 19 and line number 24 from this two models, it is exactly same as what is here. Okay. So this is the starting point. Initially, you'll
And
have
sir,
to
in
anyway.
app.py, if we uh, remove the cars relationship, it will show error, no?
No, it won't show error. Why?
But we will not able to get car directly.
Yeah, we won't be able to use the one-to-many relationship. One-to-many relationship will still exist. But see, if you're creating something, if you're establishing a relationship, you should be able to use it.
Okay, the
Right?
feature will be unavailable if you do not provide.
Right. Yeah. In the table, you can see that, okay, yeah, one car can belong to, one car will be having a brand, this. So you will see that a brand can have multiple cars that will be visible from table. Okay. That we saw, but that was not, we could not retrieve the data in that way when this line was not there. And how is this line here helping? What did I do? Let's say B1 was the brand. What did I do? I wrote B1 dot cars to actually get the cars. Are you getting? Can you recall this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, don't worry if
Just
you,
like attribute, we could use the car,
right,
and
right.
it will provide
So,
list.
right. Yeah, correct. Right. So we will be using this statement there also, but in a slightly different way because there is a difference in way you code. Okay. So at this point, I'm not saying these are many to many relationship. I'm just saying these are two independent models. Okay. Why am I calling this independent? Because I can add a record in brand table. I can independently add a record in car table. They can independently exist with no relationship at all. All right. So this is the most simplest way where the models are only defined with all the required attributes, but there is no relationship established. Now we will move towards or we'll divert towards many to many. Okay. This exactly is the same thing we did in the last lecture or in the last session, right before going to my one to many relationship. Okay. So we independently created two models and then we started off how to exactly connect them with one to many. But in today's session, same thing we did, two independent models, but now we'll connect them with many to many relationship. Okay. Now to actually understand many to many relationship by words, as I said, right? One brand, multiple cars, one car, multiple brands. That is okay. But with that, you can also, you can also understand that here a car can independently exist. Okay. There a car could not independently exist. We had to provide a parent to it. But here, if I create a car object, I don't need to explicitly provide. There itself, I don't need to provide who the maker is because I cannot provide one maker at a time, right? It can belong to multiple makers.
So we
So how
can
do I
set
provide all the
make.
makers at the same time?
We
Sorry.
could left maker to null, no?
See, if you don't need that, why do we create it? So
Okay.
we at this point, when I create a maker, see you cannot set that to null because it is requiring foreign key. Foreign key cannot be null.
Sir, I
Okay.
tried, sorry, I didn't tried, but I mistakenly didn't provide the maker and it worked. In DB browser, it's so null.
DB browser it showed null. So see what is that meaning?
Means I accidentally didn't provide the maker
Okay.
while adding, and
Yeah.
it doesn't show error. And when I open DB
It
browser,
must have shown then null. Okay. Fine.
yeah.
That is okay. But the thing is then see the purpose of creating one to many is not served, right? You cannot provide the maker later. You can later update it maybe, but yes, ultimately in order to set a particular car to a particular brand, you will have to provide its maker because this is a physical column, right? You did not provide it, that is okay because the SQLite is allowing that. But then since this is a physical column, we'll have to provide it. Okay. But that is not the case with many to many. So if I'm saying that I don't need to provide the maker of the car at the time of creating it. See, we will do it later, but at the time of creating it, do we need to have it? No. Okay. This means I can create a car object without even displaying or without even specifying who the maker of this car is. Right. This means brand and car both can independently exist in many to many relationship. Okay. That is the reason we are not calling it child or parent. We're calling it siblings because they can independently exist. One has to do nothing with the other. Yeah. We can establish the current connection later or the relationship later. All right. And for that, we will have a different table explicitly to store only the relation and not any other entry. Okay. That is called as association table in many to many. Okay. So let's create that and I'll show you what are its components. So everything will remain same. Just notice on what will be the attributes of this particular table. So I've created an association table. Okay. But this particular association table will store only the relation between brand and car. Okay. For example, I'll show you with the example. Okay. For example, there is one entry in brand table. Let's say this is a brand table. This is a brand table. Okay. So one of the entries of brand table is primary key 1 and brand name Maruti. That's all. Okay. All right. And then there is another entry, let's say. So let's say it is Mercedes. This is another brand. Okay, so these are the 1 and 2 are the primary keys, and Maruti and Mercedes are the name. So basically, I've written the brand table. Okay, let me do this also to specify that we are talking about table, right? So brand table, and then I've written BID, that is 1, and then B name, that is Maruti. Similarly, I've written BID as 2 and B name as Mercedes. Okay, now let us also create a table called car. Okay, and then this has two different cars. Let's say one, because it also has C underscore ID. So there also it will have its own primary keys. So they will start with 1 and so on. So let's say Swift. Okay, and the second car is, let's say, Baleno. Okay, so these are the two cars in my car table. Okay, and I want to specify that both these cars, Swift and Baleno, belong to this brand Maruti. Okay, so here what I'll do, I'll store the group of primary keys. Okay, if I write 1 comma 1, what does that mean? 1 comma 1 means one of brand ID and one of car ID. B underscore ID, C underscore ID. A group of that specifies the relationship. This means Swift belongs to Maruti or Maruti belongs to Swift. We are not talking about parent and child here. So I can say it other way around. Swift belongs to Maruti, Maruti belongs to Swift. I can write that. Okay, and what is this storing? Basically, that's just the primary keys. Okay, let's say I want to also specify that Baleno also belongs to Maruti. So what will I write? 1 comma 2. Right, just the
Sir,
one to one correspondence.
Sir, one of this tuple, one is for primary key of one table and one is for primary key of other table.
Other table, that's all. Okay, so what does this mean? This line number 32, this means that there is a one-to-one correspondence between one primary key and two primary key, where one is the primary key of brand table and 2 is the primary key of car table. Okay, so if I'm able to store these one-to-one correspondence in a different table, it will be good, right? I don't have to explicitly make changes in these two tables, brand and car. And these one-to-one correspondence are actually stored in the association table. Okay, for example, if I want to say, if I want to add, let's say, a third car, P space, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm just writing McLaren. Let's say it belongs to Mercedes. And I want to say that it belongs to Mercedes. What will I write in the correspondence?
2 comma 3.
2 comma 3. That's all. Right. So even, even changing anything, any record in the table, brand or car, what am I able to do? I'm just able to modify my association table or add or remove entry from association table to bring that relationship. Right. That is why I'm saying that brand and car, the records of brand and car can independently exist. I don't have to do any changes in that. Had it been one to many, what would I have to do? I had to delete it and then again create with different maker. See? Right? If I wanted to change the maker of McLaren to from Mercedes to, let's say, Maruti, what would I have to do? I had to delete that record first. Okay. And then add the maker in explicitly again to make sure that McLaren belongs to now Maruti. Are you getting? So many to many is all about this particular table, the third table, right? So I'll just write here, association. Okay, and this is all we are going to, we don't need it capital. So this is all we are going to save in association table. Okay.
So this
Did you get
association
this?
table hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, this association table can be used for one to many and many to one also, right? Because
Yeah,
since we
every
are
many to
creating
many
many
relationship is a one to many relationship by default. It's just that you won't be adding
this
anything
can be
else.
used for that purpose.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. It is underused. That's what I would say. Right. So for example,
Correct.
if I do 1 comma 1 and I never did 1 comma 2, it will become 1 to 1. Sorry, 1 to many. You getting, no?
Yes.
So yeah, so it's just that I won't use the possibility of creating that multiple correspondence is one to many. So every many to many relationship can be used as a one to many relationship, but converse is not. Okay. So this association
Yes.
table is basically, okay, so what is stored in Maruti or brand table? The primary key and some attribute that is text. Okay. Similarly in car table, a primary key and some attribute that is text. But in association table, it is only a play of primary keys. Okay. But primary keys of different table, right? So they will be called as foreign keys here. So association table will only store foreign keys. Okay. I hope this is clear. Any doubt in what I said just now?
Sir, please repeat again.
Yeah. So what I said, in brand table, there was one primary key and one is some different attribute. This is not a primary key, right? Some independent attribute of table brand. That's fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, in the car table, I have a primary key and I have an attribute of car table that is explicitly used for car table. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But in the association table, I'm not storing any, different attribute that is string or something else. It is all the primary keys, right?
Yes, sir.
But these are the primary keys of some different tables, right? They are primary keys of brand table or car table, not
Yes, sir.
originally
So they are
association
now foreign keys.
foreign keys. So basically, what are we storing in association table?
Foreign keys.
Foreign key
Foreign
for
keys.
association, not for car and brand.
Yeah, foreign key for
Yes, sir.
association. That's what I said. Association table will only store foreign keys, which are primary keys of brand and car table.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's create those two. Okay. So first thing, let's say I'll write. And see, if I use BID here, does not mean I cannot use it anywhere else, right? Because this BID is specific to this class or table. That's why in the association table also I can use BID. Okay, and there is no scope of confusion because we cannot directly refer BID. We also have to specify what class. That is the reason we always say brand ID dot BID. Sorry, brand dot BID, brand dot B name. car.c underscore id, car.c name. Similarly, association.bid, like that. So this b underscore id has the scope of only this particular table. So I can use it explicitly, right? Okay, so I'll be storing bid. This is a column, a physical column, right? So I'll write column. Okay, what does it store? It stores integer. Okay, and what exactly is that integer? Foreign key. Foreign key. Where this foreign key comes from? What is this foreign key? It is actually the b underscore id, but we cannot, as I said, we cannot use directly the attribute name. So this bid is coming from which table? Brand. So it is brand.bid. Okay. Similarly, if I write c underscore id, what does that mean? It is a physical column, okay, which stores integer, and it is nothing but what exactly is the nature of data it is storing? It is a foreign key, and this foreign key is coming from what part? The c underscore id coming from car table. Okay, note that I'm writing brand table and car table. That is the reason the b and c that I've used here are small. Okay. Now there is one thing. There is one more thing that I will say here. For example, okay, so there is a repetition of primary keys here, right? 1 and 1 coming again, 2 and 2 coming again, right? But did you see in any of the record, did you see the repetition of both simultaneously? This means
No,
what I mean is when I say 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 2 comma 3, okay, we can also have 3 comma 2, okay, but can we have 1 comma 1 again?
no.
We cannot have 1 comma 1 again, right? Because this is already there, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if this is not there, can you say that this both together are unique?
Together are unique, sir.
Right,
Not
together they
individual.
are unique.
Individually they could repeat.
Yeah, individually they can repeat because they belong to some other table, but together they are unique. Okay, this is the concept of composite keys. Okay, so how do you create a composite key in table? Just provide primary key attribute to both. Okay, so I'll set primary key true for this. Okay, primary key true for this particular attribute, and similarly I'll set this true for this attribute also. It's not that I'm setting two primary keys in a single table. I'm setting these two as a composite key. So you'll see that the combination never repeats. Okay, so this is what is our association table. Let me increase this. This is
So
what is the
any
content
data
of
accessed by association table, we
sorry.
need to provide for any data to access from association table.
Yeah, yeah.
From primary key, we cannot use b.id alone. We need to use both tuple bid, comma cid.
If you want to get exactly one record, then you have to use both, right? Because if you use single one, it will give you all the records where one is matching.
And so, what is the primary key for association?
So primary key for association table is the combination of both,
Okay,
right?
and that is
Combination
known
of
as
both.
composite key.
Composite key. You must study it in DPMS. If you don't want to do this, you can add a different ID here, a underscore ID, called as association ID, db.column, db.integer, primary key equals to true, and remove these two. But that is extra thing, right? We are setting, we are creating one column just to store the serial number of the table. That's all, right? This is important in other tables, the tables that have independent existence, because we need to individually or explicitly retrieve a record. Here we have to retrieve an association, right? This association table will not have any significance if I'm trying to retrieve only BID or only CID. Are you getting this? Every time when I query association table, I will be demanding this complete combination, this complete correspondence. Okay, so every time if I'm completely retrieving the correspondence, why not give a single primary key, which is the composite key? Okay, so this is
Got the point, sir.
right. So this is what is the content of association table. Okay, now let us come
Sir,
to this table. Yeah, tell
hello.
me. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, yes, I can move to that main.py. Yes, sir. The brand.b underscore id. Your brand is the object, right?
Brand is the class. Oh, sorry. So
Sir,
see, brand is class, but if you
small
want
b.
to refer, when you are retrieving, you will be retrieving object by object.
No, sir. I am saying that how means this object are created. The object is not created yet, no?
No, no, no. Object is not created.
Then how you are telling that the small brand dot bid car dot cid?
No, so this is not object. This is table name. That's what I said, right? When I'm referring to all small, this when I talk about this complete name of the class with all small letters, I'm actually talking about the table,
Okay, okay,
right? Not the object.
okay,
Actually, this lecture is continuation of previous session. I think that's why there is.
Oh, is it?
okay, okay.
Okay, fine. So yeah, so if you you can for now you can try to understand. If you don't get, just wait for some time when I'll show you when we create objects also, right?
Okay, 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 sir. Yeah.
So this is same as what we learned in DPM is that when you have many to many relation, you keep a relation table which stores the primary keys. Is
Yeah,
it same?
yeah, because
And
that's
in
what I
one to
said.
many, you keep the one relation which is having the one side will keep the primary key of the parent, like the
That's what.
many one.
That's what. Right. So that
That's
is
it,
what.
right? So,
Yeah, that is what we are doing. Because see, understanding of database remains same. No, we
yes,
will
now
have
I got
different
the connection.
understanding in Python. Sorry, in
Yeah, we
WebDrive.
learned theory last time. Now I got the connection. So I have one doubt. We made the database table. We changed the schema. Again, we created the table. So I don't understand what is the use of this SQL alchemy. When if you have a big database and if you're changing the schema or adding something,
Hmm.
every time we have to build from the scratch.
Yeah. So see, the thing is, now the database that we are working on is very small.
Yes.
Okay. even in project you might not be storing data more than 100 kbs. But what if
Yes.
there are rows and rows of data and you want to you forgot to add some, now you decide on adding a new column and you want to add that column, change the schema,
Yes.
right? This is where there is something called as migrations comes in.
Okay.
Okay, so currently we have not set migration. Migrations or flash migrations allow you to make real-time changes in the database, which will get incorporated in the existing database.
Okay. Then only it is useful.
Yeah.
Because in this case, even if I create a table, there is no use. Small mistake, I have to redo everything.
Yeah, so currently we are testing and we will have at least, I mean, not more than 1, 2, 3 records, right? So it is okay to, do that. Why? Because then when you have migration, uh, you will have to write similar code every time to make the things migrate, right?
Sir, if you use Flask SQL Alchemy, only this problem is there. Otherwise, if we directly use from make the table in DB browser and change them manually, and if we're able to connect that database over here using these model codes, it will work, right?
Directly referring to model, I'm not sure that will work. Why? Because see, the thing is, this line is important. Okay, this line is actually so when you add a record, this
Yes.
the table that get created with the command db dot create all, that table, all the tables that get created are created based on whatever models we have defined.
Yes, that is clear. So
Hmm.
even if I have to make a table there, I can make the basis for here, basis in this Python file, saying I want all these tables and these all fields are there and these all are so and so conditions are there. Everything constraints I can mention here. So the table will be created in DB browser. I can input the content directly in DB browser, change from there, which will not
Yeah.
make any problem, right? Like, even if I
No, no, no.
add or
No, no,
update that
you won't
table,
see.
that
It won't, because see here in the DB browser, if I add a record like this, it will allow me to add the
yes.
record.
That's what I asked. I didn't get the use, practical use of Flask SQL
See, the
command.
practical use of Flask SQL Alchemy is, did you
Like it is
see?
working without that. Okay.
Yeah, did you see me writing SQL commands anywhere? Queries, select
in
star
in
from
internet when our application is working,
No.
in
from.
internet when our application is working,
No.
what you will do? Our Python program will add no when new user login. When new
Yeah, that
user
I can
buy
use to
the
display, right?
No,
when
see,
new
that is
user
one
buy
thing.
anything,
Right, that is one
Python
thing.
program will do. Or that we are studying.
No, I just asked.
No, no, no.
I just
See,
asked if you're
okay,
making a database.
yeah, right. See, so your question is, if you make a database without using SQL Alchemy, okay, and write everything
Yes.
to actually connect with the database and do everything, but you want to add data manually without, doing here.
Yes.
See, yeah, so that is possible. That
Because
is, that is allowed. No issues with that. That will not cause any issue. But see, every time, as somebody, I did not see the name, but see, for example, when you're working with web application, okay, and let's say you add, suppose we have a model name users, okay, which you will be creating in your project, right? So if I want to log in as a new user, what will I have to actually add my name in the database?
sorry, sir, your signal got disconnected in between.
Hello, am I audible
No,
now?
sir is
I didn't
audible.
get
Your
that.
signal
Yeah,
Sir,
is
you
yeah.
are audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, for example, if I want to add a new user myself, I want to register as a new user in the users table.
Okay.
The database is existing in the as a SQLite 3 file.
Okay.
Okay, if I want to do that, what do I have? What interface do I have to do that? Do I have the access to database given that the file is running on the server?
No, the commands are required. Like these commands are required, I think, to connect to the database.
No.
But
So
the
see, here you can add from here, right? But will you
yes,
have DB browser's interface while working with any application?
No,
Will any web developer
directly
allow
we
you
won't have.
to? Yeah, so there
Okay.
we will, the only interface that we have is a bunch of HTML files,
Yes, sir.
right? And the database is not with you, it is existing on the server. So what you have to do, you will have to either write the SQL command in the code, or the developer should have that provision that it accepts the SQL command, or we will have to, just interact with whatever is provided to us. For example, forms. So a web development,
Yes,
sorry,
I
a web
got it now. I got
application
that now,
will
sir.
only have form, right? So yeah, so that was correct
Practical
answer.
application, this is not possible.
Yes.
That is it.
While development, yes, you can. See, currently we are developing an
Yes, sir.
application, so I can interact with
Yes,
the
yes.
database, whatever is there.
Yes, very small projects is okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Get that now, sir. That was a doubt. Okay, okay. Thank you,
Okay.
sir. It's clear.
Yeah. So when we create the application in the next session, I'll show you how you cannot have access to the database, and you will be only, confined to some HTML pages.
Sir,
Yes, sir. You can see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Tell me.
sir, why you have given primary key to both b underscore id and c underscore id? Suppose,
Because we want not b underscore id or c underscore id to act as primary key. We want their combination to act as a primary key.
but sir, in if line number 36 and 37, as we can see that b underscore id in both cases is same. So does it make any problem?
No, that's what I'm saying. Is the combination same? 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2?
No, sir. But
That's what.
uh,
So
to,
see, this particular setting, see, if I don't give this, then and then only bid is primary key.
okay,
Okay, but if I give this both, then bid is not. Both together are primary keys.
okay, sir.
That is the way the Flask SQL alchemy behaves, right? So
Actually,
when you
now the
want to,
tuple is primary key. We can think of that
right,
simple
that's
manner.
what. So every record, this tuple refers to every record in the association table. And what else do we have apart from this? We won't have anything, because I said, what will it store? It will only store the primary keys of the existing models, right?
Yes, sir.
So this tuple will be every record, each record of the table, which by itself is the unique one, and therefore the combination is primary key, not any one at any time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll also see that when we add in the table. Okay, this is for your understanding. So I'll comment this now. Okay, okay, everyone is clear till this point, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us go to
Yes, sir.
app.py. In app.py, I created this, which actually established the one-to-many relationship, and with the help of this, I could use that one-to-many relationship, right? So similarly, in main.py, my association table will establish one-to-many relationship, but I need one more thing to use the relationship. Okay. So that line I can add anywhere in either of the models, but it will change if the model changes. Okay. So that line is very similar to this.
Sir,
This.
without that line, everything will be okay.
Yeah. So the content will, the code will not throw any error. It's just that you won't be able to use it. Right. You
Yes,
can
sir.
add
Right.
the data, you can provide the relationship, you can specify, okay, what is related to what, no issues with that. But then how do you use it?
Yes, sir. The main benefit we will be left.
Yeah, missing out, right? So for example, if I use this relationship, what does this do? It tells me that since it belongs to this class brand, it tells me that class brand is in relation with class car, and then these are the way you can attribute them, way you can refer them, right? So what did I use? If I had b1 as an object, for example, I created b1 as an object. How would I retrieve its name? I would write b1 dot b underscore name. Okay. Similarly, if I want to retrieve all the cars that belong to b1, what will I write? Simply
B1
b1
dot
dot
cars.
cars, right? So something similar to this should also be there, right? So that is what we are going to write here. Okay. So it will be similarly, I'll use the same thing, cars. Okay.
And sir, one question, sir. Means we have created many database. Means many row, and
Correct.
when we run b dot car, so it will go and individually search and then bring. Means suppose there are millions of data. So
Right.
it will take 2-3 second time and collect all data and then give us, or it is stored physically one
Physically
list
nothing is stored.
basically.
See, I've been taking this thing, right? I mean, I've been using this word physical column, physical column. What does that mean? That this cars is not a physical column in brand, which you can see is here, right? There is no cars,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
right? But in the car table there was maker, so that was a
So
physical
if there
column.
are millions of data, so it will take 2-3 seconds time to
Whatever time,
filter
yeah,
out
depending
everything.
on, yeah, everything, connectivity or performance, computer system, everything, it will take time,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Got it. And if we want to access B name, we will get very fast.
That will,
But
yeah,
car getting will take time.
yeah, yeah, that will be, that is a possibility, yes. Okay, so right, I am writing it in the brand class. What will I write here? It is related to. So it is not a physical. Where exactly? Yeah. So it is not a physical column, right? It will be relationship. TB dot relationship. With which model am I setting this relationship? Car. Right. So I'll write car here, and I need something to reference it backwards, right? If I can write B1 dot cars, I should be able to write C1 dot something to get the brand of that car, right? So there comes things like backref. Okay, I'll show everything in motion when we go into CLI, but this is understanding and setting up the model is important. Okay, so then we'll set something called as backref, which was company that we did, right? It's the same, right? Everything else is same. Cars dv dot relationship, car backref company. But how will these two models know that I have to actually refer to association table whenever a relationship is retrieved or asked? Right? So for that, we have another attribute called as secondary. You may have seen this, right? So in the secondary, we provide the table name, okay? Table name of the association. So what is the table name here? Small a, not the capital, because capital A refers to class. Okay, so secondary association will tell both these models as they're related with this relationship. It will tell both these models to actually refer to this particular table whenever I refer either B1 dot cars or C1 dot company, right? So this is what is many to many relationship. Now we'll see many to many relationship in motion. Okay, but okay, this is what the code is. Any doubt here? Let's try to clear that first.
No doubt, sir. But the same 13 lines should be present in car table also, no? Car class.
No, this is, see, we have, okay, what will you write here? Tell me.
Means we are referring to brand. Just
Yeah, so let's say write company. Okay, company equals to bb dot relationship. What will you provide here? Oh, relationship. What will you provide here? The
brand.
model which you are connecting, brand. Okay, backref equals to what should you write? Cars, and secondary equals to association, right? This is what you'll write. But is it not mentioned here? Backref company, relationship car, association secondary. Everything that you have provided here is already mentioned here, right?
Backref is
Specifying,
different, no?
yeah, but I'm, where am I specifying this db dot relationship? Where am I doing that? In brand table, it internally or implicitly means that brand class is connecting with car class.
So both could be used in any one only.
Yeah, yeah. Either you use line number 13 or 18, not together.
Together will cause error or okay.
It can cause error. If you don't want error to come in, remove this backref and write back populates, right? So you don't
Back?
want to go into uh, lot of syntax. So there is, see, backref is, if we see, the thing is, if you want to use both these lines, it is actually doing the same thing but extra piece of code, right? Same thing it is doing, but it is, see, referring to association table for the relation. It also tells you that, okay, car and brand classes are connected or related. It tells you that, okay, either you use B1 dot cars or C1 dot company. Both the lines exactly do the same thing. So why do we need to have them, explicitly used again and again? So that's why we don't need this. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so the meaning what this line number 18 conveys is already been given by line number 13. That is why we don't need.
Sir, please explain the use of secondary plus association once more.
Yeah, so see, I have set this relationship. Okay, I have set this relationship, but how will these both classes know that they have to retrieve? For example, when I write this, let's say I have a b1 object and I want to get all the cars of b1. What will I write? b1 dot cars.
Got
Okay, but b1 dot cars will only give me result if it knows what table to retrieve the data from,
Yes, yes, sir.
right? So that
And
data
sir,
or that
now
information is given by this secondary attribute.
Okay,
and
sir.
sir,
Okay,
now for reverse access, we could use that C1 dot
Company.
company.
Yeah, that is why we have backref.
okay, sir.
Okay, so if I had a object called C1, I would have written C1 dot company to get the brand. Okay, now there is one more observation that I would show you. In the one to many, when you write b1 dot cars, b1 dot cars, what will this give you? This will give you list of
List.
car objects. Okay, if one car belongs, it will still give you a list but of single item. Okay, but what will this give you? C1 dot company. This is one to many. Okay, so what will C1 dot company give you? This will give you single object, because a car can belong to only one brand, right? So it will give you single brand object. Okay, but in many to many, one car multiple brands, one brands multiple cars. So in both the cases, what will I get? List of
List of
objects, right?
list
So
of
this
one
will
is
give
car
me,
object, one is company object.
right? So this will give me list of car objects.
And sir, B1 is here the object of brand, right?
Yeah, object of brand. We'll see that also. Okay, and C1, this will give me list of brand objects. Whatever I'm writing here, I'll show you visually. Okay, so don't worry about that. So this will give me list of brand objects. Again, this is for your information, commented. Okay, we'll give this code, everything there. Okay, now that is how you establish this. This is one to many saved. This is many to many saved. That's all. The code is done. Now let us use it. Okay, before using it, any issue in any line of the code?
No, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, in line number 13, the car is C of car is capital. That is table name. Na?
No. So a relationship we are establishing between the classes. See, whenever I took table name or whenever I provided an attribute, it was related to, the attribute particularly. Table name dot attribute name. Okay,
Okay.
but the relationship is getting done or established between both the models, right? So brand is setting up a relationship with car model. That is the reason C is capital.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
if
you.
you don't if you don't remember this, just remember that, okay, at some places, in the foreign key we need it small, otherwise we need it capital. In foreign key and secondary we need it small.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, this is for your understanding that wherever I use capital C or capital B, it refers to class. Wherever I use small, it refers to table.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so with that we'll move ahead and now interact with the database. Okay, so the code is done. Now let me increase the font of this. All right, so we'll first activate the virtual environment, right? So it will be my env / scripts / activate. Okay, so my virtual environment is activated. Now what will I do? I'll open the Python shell. Okay, Python shell open. Then I'll import everything from main because I want now many to many. So from main, import star. Okay, and now we will try to create the database. It will be db dot create all. Okay, so you can see that there is many to many SQLite 3. Okay, let's try to open this. Okay, so you can see that there are 3 tables created. I cannot increase the font of this, so you have to bear with me with this. Okay, so this one, the highlighted one is brand, then this is car, and this is association. Okay, so if I open brand table, I'll see that there is b underscore id and b underscore name. Okay, when I create a car, or when I open the car table, I'll see that there is c underscore id and c underscore name. And in the association, if you see, there is only b underscore id and c underscore id. This will only store the IDs. That's all. Okay, the correspondence 1 comma 2, 2 comma 1. That's all. Okay, so these are the 3 tables that we have created. Now let us create individually 1 or 2 car objects and 1 or 2 brand objects. Okay, so first
Sir,
I'll
for
go to
given data, we could run the for loop and it will be created, right?
which data?
If some data is given in dictionary form, we could create for loop and main program, and
Yeah,
we could.
that is a part of code that you can do. That will
Oh,
actually be used when you, when you know, write the code for
yes,
project or lab assignments.
yes.
Okay, now let us create a B1 object, that is car brand object. So how do we create object? So what this is, what is SQL Alchemy again used for? So what am I doing here? I'm creating a object of class brand. Okay, this will in turn create a record in brand table. Okay, and the way I'm creating object is whole Python. Okay, but the query that is run is all SQL. So internally, implicitly, SQL queries are run. Okay, but we have to stick with Python. Okay, now here, what do I have to provide? I just have to provide b underscore name. I will not provide ID because it is auto incremented primary key. So I don't need to explicitly provide it. Primary keys are only provided when they are string. But here we have set integer. So the system knows that, okay, it will start with 1 and keeps on increasing by 1. Okay, so I'll just provide b name. Okay, let's start with Maruti. Taking the same example so that we can relate with whatever instances we have taken before. Okay, so this is B1, and that is all we have to provide because that is all is there in the model. Okay, so B1 is now added. Similarly, I'll add B2. This is again a brand. If you click on up arrow, it will autofill for you. Okay, this is up arrow. And then you can change. So Maruti, let's say Mercedes. Let us use. Yeah. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, when typing from main import all, it is showing some error.
Okay, we'll come to that. Just give me a minute. Okay, let me, I mean, you know that how the things, brand and everything, sorry, and objects are created, right? You
Yes,
attended
yes,
the last lecture. Okay, so you
yes,
can
sir.
just wait for a minute. I'll come to you.
Okay.
All right, so we have created 2 objects now, B1 and B2. Let us add these 2 objects in the session. So it will be db dot session dot add B1. Okay, and similarly, if I press up arrow, it will give me same thing. Then I can edit it to B2 and add it to the session. Okay,
Sir, we
and
can
then
do add
db
on
dot.
also.
No, there is no and all. No. So this is because we create session, we create objects one by one, and then we keep on adding to the session. Okay. So db dot session dot. Oh, what you're saying? You're saying add all to use.
Yes, sir, add on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You can use that definitely. Okay. So when you add car objects, we'll use add all. Okay. So db dot session
Okay.
dot. Once the objects are added to the session, we'll have to use db dot session dot commit. Okay. Now that the 2 objects are added in the are committed to the database, let me refresh this and I'll see that these 2 are added in the database. Okay, did I write any SQL query? No, right? So that is how we create objects using Python in the database. Okay, so you can also see that 1 and 2. So these are auto incremented primary keys and the values are coming here. Okay, so this now I'll come to the same thing. Every record in the table is object in Python. That's what I said when I wrote this, right? So this is how you connect. Similarly, now I'll create 2 car objects, add them to the session and add them to the database. Okay, so C1 will be equal to car. Here also I will not provide the C underscore ID because it is primary key. The only thing that I will provide is C underscore name. Okay. Note that I won't be providing any maker also. Why? Because car can explicitly or independently exist in many to many relationship. Right. So there is no parent and child. There is siblings. Okay. So let's say Swift. Okay. If I press an up arrow, it will give me the same thing, but I can modify it. Okay, so we have added three cars. Okay, three cars added. Now let us add them all together to the session. How do we do that? db dot session dot add all. Okay, and in the add all method, you will provide list of things you want to add. So it will be C1, comma C2, comma C3. Okay, and once this is added, then we'll commit. So this is committed. Now if I go to car table, I'll see that there are three things added. Right? Three things added. Now these are independently existing cars with independently existing brands. Okay. Now if I want to set up a relationship, that is, I want Swift and Baleno to belong to Maruti and S-Class to belong to Mercedes. What will I do? I'll make use of the relationship thing that we have used, db.relationship. Right. So if you see this in many to many, that is main.py, you see this, right? I mean, you can use association table, no issues with that, but there is a way to not use association table and still create association. Okay. All right. Okay. What will this give me? For that, we'll have some idea of this. Okay. Let us have some idea of this. B1.cars will give me all the cars that are associated with brand B1. Right. But if there are no cars associated, what it should give me? Okay. Let us see from here. I have created B1 as an object, right? So B1 dot cars. What does that give me? It gives me an empty list. Why? Because independent cars, no? Independent cars, independent of brands. So b1.cars will give me an empty list. Since it is an empty list, can list methods apply to this list? It applies, right? So what will I do? I'll write b1.cars dot append c1. I want to append the C1 object, which is Swift, in the list that is B1, because B1 is Maruti, right? So I want to append this. Okay. When I append this, and when I append this, what will happen? C1 will go to B1.cars list, and I also need to make sure that the change is reflected. So how does the change gets reflected to the database? We will write db.session.commit. Okay. Now if you see here, so we have cars, we have brand, but if you see association table, we have 1, 1, right? So in B underscore ID, we have 1, C underscore ID, we have 1, which is what we mean by this. Okay. So without using association table, this is how you attach one thing to other. Okay. Similarly, I can do other way around also. If I write, okay, so just to make sure that this is added correctly and it is giving me the right results, I can write c1.company. What will it give me? I'm there in the call, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what will this give me?
Maruti?
It will give me brand one. It will be list of objects, right? So I got a
Yes.
list of brand one. Brand one, so this nomenclature or this convention of writing the object is, I have also said about this, right? This is class name space primary key. Okay, so I know that the B1 has primary key 1 and it is belonging to class brand. So that is the reason this object name has brand with capital B space 1. Okay. All right. Now C1 dot company is a list, right? So if I refer or index it with 0, on the 0th index, I'll get object, right? Brand 1. Okay. And if this object is correctly retrieved, I can write C1 dot company 0, which actually talk about brand object brand space 1. And if I try to retrieve B underscore 1, I should get Maruti. Right? Okay, let's not go into so much complexity, dot, dot, dot. What we'll do, we'll try to add another another car to brand 1. How do we do that? We'll write B1 dot cars dot append. What are we appending? C2, because it is, I guess, Baleno. So if I do this and then I do commit, this change will be reflected here. 1 comma 2. Okay, 1 comma 2. So 1 comma 1 and 1 comma 2, these are together unique. Okay, 1 is repeating. Later on 2 will also repeat. If I add Baleno to Mercedes also, right, that is a possibility. We can do that, right? Let us see. So what I'll do, I'll write, sorry, B2, not B2, yeah, B2 dot cars dot append C2. Okay. And then we commit. So when I refresh this, I'll also see that 2 appearing once again, right? Repeatedly 2 is appearing. But is the combination getting repeated? No. That is the reason the compositely they are primary keys. Okay. And you can see that whatever we said before, that what will the association table store, that is what is happening. So association table is storing nothing else but the primary keys. Okay. Now let us make use of many-to-many relationship. Let us try to retrieve multiple items for a particular brand. So what will I write? B1 dot cars. If I write this much, I should be able to get all the cars that have brand B1, right? And that's why I'm getting car 1 and car 2. Right? So when I said B1 dot cars, I'll get list of car objects. Okay. Similarly, if I write, so what is that multiple car? C2, right? C2 has been appended to both B1 and B2. So what should I get? Brand 1 and brand 2 when I write this thing. C2 dot company. I'll get brand 1 and brand 2. So you can see that we have in both the cases, either referring from car side or brand side, I'm getting I'm getting list of multiple objects. This means that there is a many to many combination. Okay. Any issue at this point?
Sir, on while initiating it, I just made a syntax dv.create all just like you, but it's giving a traceback with db is not defined.
Okay, so we'll see that. I mean, yeah. Just want to confirm if others are able to follow what I'm doing here.
Sir, could you go once again?
Yes, sir. I have followed up to the data add, but after that, the appending, I showed the error, so I left it at that part. But I'm getting, sir, you are appending the car.
So basically, so basically what I'm saying is don't worry about what b1.cars is. Just understand that it is a list. If it is a list, then every list method will apply to it. That is the reason I'm just appending.
So previously, before appending only, when we gave b1.cars, it gave us a list of cars.
It gave me list of cars, but there was no car, so it gave me empty list.
Why
before
is it
appending
empty
anything?
Yeah, previously we didn't append anything, right? But we got the list of cars.
Where?
In one-to-many relation.
Yeah, because see, when I created car object, did I provide in many to many about this? When I created car object, did I provide the maker of car?
No, because of that.
Yeah, but while creating a car object in one to many, I provided the maker, and that is what I've been saying, right? In one to many, when you create a child object, you will have to provide who the parent is.
Okay.
right? So let's say if I want to create a, let's say I want to create a car object in one to many relationship, what will I do? Let's say I'll write c4 equals to car, then I'll provide the name, that is c underscore name. Okay, let's say this car is x1, and then also I have to provide who the maker is. For example, we have Tesla as our maker, whose primary key is 4, so I have to provide 4 as primary key and then hit enter. This is what we did in the last session while adding a car object.
Okay, I got it, sir.
Okay, so this was happening. I got b1 dot cars. I got there directly because cars were being added in the runtime whenever a car object was created. Here, the car object can independently exist, right? So if you see here, I'll show you one more thing. I have not added C3 to any brand, I guess. So if I write C3 dot, sorry, C3 dot company,
Yes.
I should get an empty list. What does that mean? C3 is not related or associated with any brand. What is this technically meaning? C3 is independently existing.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Getting, sir. This is just a list you are appending.
Yeah, that's all. That's it.
That.
That is what I'm doing. I'm just using Python.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
now this association, but that does not get updated.
Where exactly?
The association table does not get updated.
It gets updated. No, whenever I do commit, it does. See, every time I'm doing commit,
Sir,
just to store.
Sir, for you it is showing for, but for me it is not showing.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
sir,
Okay,
sir, I have a question that B1 dot cars dot append C1. That means that now car is C1 is associated to B1, like it
right.
is in the list, and then B1 dot cars dot append C2. Now C2 is also that is associated to B1.
Yes,
That is Baleno Swift are now associated to Maruti.
right.
And sir, then B2 dot cars dot append C2. Sir, why is this line there?
Because what I'm doing, see, this is not what I'm doing. No, I mean, don't go with the names. I can give any name or any brand to any car, right?
Yes, sir,
So,
that I know.
so if I write b2.cars.append c2, what will happen? What will happen? C2, that is Baleno, will also get added to Mercedes.
Yes, sir. Yes,
What
sir.
does
That
that
was
give me? What does that
okay,
give
sir.
me? That gives me that Baleno has two brands. One is Maruti and Mercedes. That is what we are
Okay,
trying to
sir.
do with many to many, right?
Yes, sir. That was my problem. Okay, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'll briefly stop sharing, and those who are facing issues can share their screen one by one.
Sir, I can share my screen.
Sorry?
I can share my screen.
Yeah, you can share, Rajat.
So it is visible.
Yeah, yes.
Uh, yes, sir. So basically, like I am in my environment. So, like when I am typing Python, I'm going in the Python kernel,
Mm-hmm.
and then from import, from
From
main import all.
mhm.
This error that db dot model.
Yeah, so that db dot model, no association table db dot model M should be capital.
Okay, sir.
You see the other models.
Okay, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now it will work.
Yeah, it will work.
Okay, so I have to exit my shell
Yeah,
and then.
exit and try again. You can try again here also. I mean, while your screen is shared.
Yes, sir. Okay,
Working
thank
out.
you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and yeah, who else was having issue?
Sharing
Did
screen.
sir this
Yes, Shrivar, you're audible. Tell me.
sir here sir DB is not defined. I'm getting this error.
Yeah, okay. Let us see.
Sir, you didn't save the file.
Did you not save?
Sir,
Okay, now try again. No, man, you're actually making the change in May.
yeah,
In,
yeah, I
okay, save it, save it. No, see, you have saved it, right? Now you have to import it once again. Initially, the object was not imported, no? So just import from main import star. Okay, so you exit the shell. That is what is with importing the shell. You have to, any change you make in the this file, you have to import it. Okay, one more thing. What is the association table name you have created? Association, no? In the secondary, is it association itself or
sorry, sir, I did not.
line number 12? Can you open line number 12? Yeah, line number 12. What is there in the secondary attribute value? Yeah, so make it association. Okay, now you save it and try once again.
Sir, do I have to establish that environment again?
Yeah, you have to. All right, so you're, yeah, you have to activate the environment first.
Sir, please help me with syntax. Basically, I copy paste.
Okay, you write your environment name, my env. Okay, then you will give backslash or forward slash in PowerShell 1. Let's see. Scripts slash activate. Now hit enter.
Oh, sorry,
That,
I
yeah,
did it wrong.
My
yeah,
NV.
up arrow, up arrow. Hit the up arrow.
Sorry, sir.
There are 4 arrows, right, on the keyboard. Up arrow. You hit the up arrow.
This one, sir.
On the keyboard. Arrow key. Okay, anyways, you write my env. Same thing, my env scripts activate. Now you open Python shell.
Uh, by giving the command Python.
That's all, yes.
Okay.
Now from main import star.
Now I have to create it.
Now you try db dot. Okay, there is an error in foreign key spelling. Where exactly? So this foreign key has a capital K.
Oops.
Okay, save it.
Do I have to reload it or it's just
Yeah,
error?
everything from the scratch. You save it.
Like Python again and import that again.
Yeah,
Or
import your.
Python is. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you do the exit in the terminal. You do the exit. Did you save first? You save the code.
Yes, sir. I did.
It's not saved.
I saved it.
Yeah, now it's saved. Yeah. All right. Just do exit. Yeah. Now open the shell. Yeah. Now do. Yeah. Now you do db dot create all.
Yes, sir. Instance has been created. Yes. Thank you very much, sir. I've been stuck in it.
Okay. Some syntax errors, and don't forget to save the file.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can stop sharing. Okay. Anyone else? Any other issue?
My screen visible, sir?
Yeah. Now it is coming up.
Is there any mistake in these lines, this and this association table?
No. So directly we won't be able to tell you. Is it showing any error?
Sir, if my visible to you,
Hmm.
the car, everything added, table it is updated.
Actually, your voice is breaking, Ritik. I'm not sure if it's just me or
No, sir, his voice is breaking.
is it? Or Ritik, your voice is breaking a bit. Can you repeat what you said? So you're saying that the association table is not getting updated. He left.
Is my voice is now clear?
Yeah, your voice is clear. Yeah.
Actually, I was using two devices, that's why it was creating problem.
Okay.
Uh, so the DB browser association table does not get updated. This brand is get updated,
Okay. So
and
are you committing after appending?
after appending, I think I
Let us try once again.
DB dot
So
station dot
C2
commit.
dot company, it is giving brand one and brand two. How is this coming? Okay, fine.
Yes, association get updated after committing. Okay, sir.
Everything in the database gets committed after committing. I mean, that gets added after committing. So why was it showing on the shell? It was not committed on the
What?
database.
What, sir?
See, just line before keyboard interrupt, you wrote C2 dot company and it still showed a list of brand one and brand two. If the
Yes,
association table
sir.
was not filled, how are we getting this list?
I think it is from Python means C2.
Yeah, because the variables B1, C1, C2, C3 and their association is there in the session. Okay, so
Okay,
whatever
in
things you
session
make,
means
they
Python
appear
session.
first. No, in the DB session that we are creating, no, from app import everything, and C1 DB dot add session dot add. So whenever we are adding all these objects in the session, and the relationship, everything we're doing, uh, uh, they get updated in the session. Once we do the commit, then they go to the database.
Okay.
Okay, all right, you
So
can
every
stop
time we
sharing.
need to commit. Okay.
Okay, anything, anyone else? Okay, so I'll share back. All right, so this is how we create many to many relationship, right? So you will be creating two models and one table for their association. It is not possible to create three models and one table sharing their association, all three, right? So if you notice the table structure, we are storing a combination of two correspondence, one to one, right? One from b underscore id, one from c underscore id. There is no scope of adding a third thing, for example d underscore id, right? If you want to add a third column, for example, if you want to add a third column, let's say uh, colors of car, right? So one car can have many colors, and many colors, uh, right? So many colors can be a part of multiple cars, or one color can be there for multiple cars. So there is again many to many relationship. So what we'll have to do, first we'll have to create the model for colors, and then an association table, independent association table for car and colors, right? So it will not happen, multiple many to many relationship will not happen with single association table. Okay, so its association table will join only two different tables, one association table. Okay, so if you want to create another many to many relationship, you will create the
Means,
model,
means
the
three
third
tuple
model,
could not
and
be
then
there,
which,
right?
no, it won't be there.
Only two means tuple size must be two.
Yeah, because the association means one to one, what is related to what, right? So here we are talking about relation between brand and car. If the third object comes in, or the third element comes in, that is colors, for example, then you will have to create another association table between color and whatever model you are connecting here, for example car. So the association 2, for example, will have a combination of cars and colors, like that. Okay, so I hope this session was clear. Mostly I won't proceed from this point now, because in the next session, that is tomorrow, we will try to work on now giving a front end to this, now writing a logic for this and create an application. Okay, so whatever we have been doing with the help of this particular command line, we should be able to do with the help of forms and displays, right? The templates. And for that, we'll write code which will mostly have content like this, right? db.session.add, and then creating objects, retrieving objects, everything. Okay, so that is what we are going to do in the next session. We'll create an application that will list out all the brands, that will list out all the cars. Then you should be able to create a new brand. You should be able to create a new car. Update is something that we can see later. But the idea is to create a particular object, to make it display on the screen, and to make it, as you can assign it, you should be able to assign one object to the other, right? For example, in tomorrow's session, we'll be creating an application that will create a brand for you. I mean, you should be able to create a brand, you should be able to create a car, and you should be able to assign a car to a particular brand. Everything will happen on front end, on the screen, right? Nothing will happen directly going into DB browser or going into command line. Okay, because we'll be creating a web app for that. Okay, so I hope this session was clear, and watch both the session, last session and today's session, so as to get the differences between both the relationship, how the models are differing, where exactly the difference comes in. Okay, so we got 5 more minutes. If there is any other doubt related to whatever we have studied till now, please you can ask.
Sir, is this Flask is capable of deploying for commercial app? Means suppose if you want to make a shopping app for our small means say there is my small shop, and for that I want to make. Is that good for security and other thing also?
Definitely, yeah, everything is there. So currently
Okay.
we don't know what security is and how do we make our application secure. Does not mean we cannot, right? In the later weeks, week 9 is all about security. So there we will study how to make the application secure.
Okay, means we do not need to learn other thing. From this only we can create a small app.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, you
That
can
is
create an
from
application, but the thing is, Flask does not allow, does not let you deploy something. It will only create the application. You need to add some, you need to have some third party to deploy. For example, people working on Replit have their application already deployed, right? So Replit deploys the application by itself. As and when the application is created, you can see that there is a good link, https/ your Replit ID and whatever REPL name you have given. So your application is created with that REPL, link. Okay, but if I want to deploy this application, I can use multiple platforms like Heroku, or then other domain name if I want to buy, which are provided by multiple, the Big Rock and things like that. GitHub
and
pages, all
JavaScript.
these things are.
It can be used along with Flask, or it is.
Yeah, definitely. JavaScript is a front end technology. Flask is a back end technology. So they can be
Okay.
used. We will be introducing a bit of JavaScript in upcoming sessions.
Okay. And what will be in Mat 2? That is the JavaScript.
Mat 2 will be JavaScript and multiple other things. So it will be JavaScript, frameworks of JavaScript, views, right? Then there will be backend jobs, SPAs, things like that. So you will come to
Okay.
know when you go to the course.
Thank you so much, sir, for these sessions.
Okay, fine. So I'll stop sharing for now. This is what I had for today's session. I mean, if I had not covered this today, then tomorrow we would have to, extend the session for so long, right? Tomorrow directly we can jump on the application, setting up the controller, connecting the database, setting up the controller, and creating front end for that. This will help you in creating your week 5 lab assignment.
Right, sir. It is also along with doing 2 3 days, we are more able to absorb this content, sir.
Right. So that was the idea in distributing these sessions. Okay,
Yes.
so with that, I'll end today's session. If there are any doubts, we can stay back and clear.
Can I ask some doubt from practice assignment week 4?
Practice assignment week 4. Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, sir. Just a minute.
Okay, so others who have other sessions or anything else, they can drop off. So basically the content of session is done. Okay, I can also. Okay, let's leave the recording and everything.
Sir, question number 3. From...
Question number 3 from practice assignment.
Yes, sir.
Give me a minute. Is it an SQL question?
No, sir, it's a decorator question, the function within the function.
Okay. Give me a minute. Practice assignment 4. I don't think decorators have been introduced here. Were they? So currently now we are in week 5, no?
Yes, sir, week 5. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Let me share the screen. This right? Okay. So there is a, so currently when you look at decorator, don't there is a way of looking at decorator question. Okay. What you have to do is just focus on this question. This 4 lines, the function within the function.
Okay.
Okay. And what happens is you can see that there is this X. All right.
Yes,
And what
sir.
is this X basically? So what happens when you decorate a function? So this func2 is a function which is decorated by func. This is what we mean. Are you
Okay.
able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
1 minute, let me zoom in. Okay, so this is the, so what does this particularly these two statements mean? They mean that I'm decorating func2 with func. This is what it means. Okay,
Yes, sir.
now technically, I mean practically what happens? This means that in the func, this function, this particular function is given as an argument.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what it means. Okay, so when I write at the rate func def func2, what does that mean? There is a function called func which will take func2 as an argument.
Then the output of this function go to the this func.
Not output exactly, just the function is assigned. So x is func2.
Okay.
Okay, now I said whenever you, so this is for understanding. All right, now when I now then what will actually happen has to be focused on these 4 lines, the actual function written within the function. Okay, so what is happening in this for function? This is basically printing I am decorator and then running x. What is x? Func2,
This is the func2.
right? And when you run func2, what does this mean? That a decorated func2 is now running. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, if this line was not there, only these 2 lines were there. Okay,
Yes, sir.
when this func2 is defined as, what does it say? It writes print I am an ordinary function, and when you run func2, what will be printed? I am an ordinary function. That's all.
Okay.
Right, but when you decorate it, what happens? The functionality of the original function gets changes. This means when you run it, only not this will happen, something else will also happen. What else will happen will be defined in this function. Okay, so what else is happening? You just have to focus on the content of function within the function. So these 2 lines, what is happening here? First, I am a decorator gets printed. Then what happens? The function that was provided as argument, which was what was provided as argument? Func2.
Func2.
It gets run. So first, what it will show? I am a decorator. Second, what it will show? Whatever will happen with func2. So what is happening? I am an ordinary function. Right? So first
Yes.
this will get printed, then this will get printed, and you will get the answer.
Okay, sir. Got it. Then, sir, one more question was there. I don't know where. Where so
Okay,
many
so
decorator are there in the function definition? What will run first? I think.
okay, so let's say is my screen is shared, right? Okay, so
Yes,
let's
sir.
say I have this particular code. So when I say at the rate func and then I write define func2, this means that my func2 is getting decorated.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but if I write at the rate func x, if I write this, consider that this particular, whatever is the result of this particular thing will get decorated. So it will run from bottom to top.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay, so first you have to find out the output of this two, then whatever comes in, you have to attach it with this and then find the output like that. So basically, what does this mean? This means, mathematically speaking, this means this.
Func2.
Right? So apply BODMAS.
Okay, sir. Got it.
That is what is decorator. So what you do is just copy the code, type in the VS code, comment particular lines and see what changes are happening. So you'll get what is actually happening there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Is that all? Any other question?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So I'll stop sharing and I'll share this code in the supplementary content for week 5. Okay, that's all. If that is everything, then we can close the session.